Just a few weeks ago, I made a video on this 2010 535 Wagon. This was a car I bought from the auction with the intent to mechanically restore and change its drivetrain configuration. It is an automatic and it's all-wheel drive, and my plans are to convert it to a manual and two-wheel drive, and we've already covered why in the last video. But I didn't know much about this car. This car was a mechanical loss, clean title at the auction. It was cheap, so the risk was relatively low considering I run a salvage yard, so I could always part it out. But I found a lot of suboptimal repairs on this car. A lot of them. Pretty much anything it seems that anyone has touched has been fixed wrong. So today, I would like to know everything there is to know about this car. We're going to go completely through it, front to back, find out all the stuff that's been messed with, all the stuff that's wrong, broken, the stuff you can actually blame on BMW, and then the stuff that you can blame on whoever decided to throw their crescent wrench at it. Yep, that's what we're going to do today. It's going to be fun. First things first, let's find out if it still runs. Now, the last video, it didn't run, and we made it run. We fixed fuel system problems, some ignition problems, and it ran pretty well, all things considered. But it's also been sitting behind the shop on a trailer for a while. And it is a BMW. So both of those things together could mean that it no longer runs. And I had my guys kind of push it in here, so I don't know if it does run or not. Let's find out. It should run, but they all should run. Nothing? So it runs poorly. It still counts. Why are you so unhappy now? You were fine last time. Oh no. Don't you go dying on me now? Aww. Well, let's give it another go. Sweet, it's got a headlight malfunction. It's fine. I'm pumping the gas and it's dying. Alright, well, we're gonna scan for faults and stuff. This thing is angry. Well, the first thing we're gonna do is a full scan. We're just gonna let it do its thing. I'm sure it's gonna have a couple codes in it. Or 7, 8, 12. Oh my gosh. Is anything good? I think most of these are going to be low voltage codes, so I'm not really that worried. I try to focus on the positive things, like the MOS system is good. Fuel pump controller is good. The amp is good. Gear selector is good. Gateway module is good. And night vision. And I don't even know what CCC is since this car has CIC. So the good news here is that with 134 fault codes, this car wins DTC high score. I've never had one with more codes than this. I think my S65 had 60 codes in it, and they were almost all battery codes in it, so I really wasn't worried about it. And I would wager that most of these are going to be battery codes, but we're just going to go one by one and just see if we can hammer these out, figure out what's wrong here. Read codes. Misfire, low fuel level. Uh-oh, it's going to check some problem. It's got a closed circuit current violation. Violation? Alright, let's so there's 1 and 5. Let's just fix it by clearing the codes here and see if it runs better. Oh, it's still very unhappy. Probably won't even idle. Oh, it's camming hard. Let's do this again. Now the cooling fan is on. That could be because the AC is active. Cylinders 1 and 5. Let's verify. Yeah, that does nothing. Oh, it does something. All right. It's still very unhappy. All right, we're going to watch rail pressure. So it's kind of low right now. Let's see if we can get it running and I can run around it quick enough to see what fuel pressure is. Stay alive. Yeah, it's got low rail pressure. All right, let's get back. No. Low pressure. Okay. That seems on the money. A little low. Yep, it's even worse. It's dying. All right. I finally got it to throw some codes, and it's throwing misfires on 1, 2, and 4. Now, 4 is on a separate bank. That's the second bank, but it is a companion cylinder to cylinder 3. I think what I'm going to do now is pull the plugs and see what they look like. First plug. Oh, that's ugly. That's really ugly. Wow. It smells like fuel. And it's wet oil. Nope, that's pretty much fuel. Wow, these plugs are terrible looking. That one looks a little better. Oh man, boot of that coil is covered in oil. Oh yeah, I forgot. These are the fun ones. Better, not great. This is the most fun one. All of the coils are those aftermarket coils. Get at the parts store. Not saying anything bad about them, just merely an observation. Oh, it's a different kind of plug. Oh, this is my favorite. Oh, if it's hard to get to, there's no need to change it. Well, these plugs look pretty bad. They have a lot of carbon fouling. They are wet. Smell like fuel. Yep, front 3 smell like fuel. These are not wet. They're not great looking. Actually, that one's not as bad. And then this is not the same plug. So I'm going to look for some plugs around here. I don't think I'm going to have any new plugs just hanging out. So we'll try to find a set of plugs to throw in it. And if it still runs bad, which it could, we'll go dig deeper. Well, I pulled a set of plugs out of one of my cores here. In fact, it's the only core I have here. They look terrible also, but we're going to give it a little rebuild here, see if they'll clean up. I think they'll be just fine. Nothing's bent or broken on these. Let's go back in with these plugs. All right, now we'll put the coils back in, which is really easy. Well, let's give this a whirl. Now, I would never advocate using used spark plugs, but it's what I had here, and I don't really think this is going to fix it. I think there's something causing those plugs to look like that, but let's see if it runs any better. Woo! Spark plugs. It was spark plugs. See, it's still turning the fan on. Let me see if the AC is on. That would explain that. No AC. But it does run a lot better. Runs really smooth. So rail pressure is still too low. It needs to be a little higher than that, and I bet that's why we're hearing the cooling fan, because that comes on when the rail pressure is too low. And I would suspect that there is an underlying issue like the front injectors, the front bank, front 3 injectors are index 9s. The rear 12s, I don't really see too many problems with index 11s and 12s, but the front 3 are index 9s, which is the 9th revision of injector, and they do fail. It causes a pressure leak, essentially, because they don't shut. So I'm not really going to tackle that part of the project right now, since this car is going to get completely blasted apart. There's no real reason to start fixing this engine. As a matter of fact, I don't even think I'm going to use this engine. I have another lower mileage engine I might use. So I'm not going to put any extra work into it. I just wanted to make it to where I could start it, run it, move it on my driveway. And now we get to find out what else is wrong with it. Well, it made a little mess. Yeah. One thing I do want to check, now that the engine's not running, let's go look at some rail pressure. So yeah, that's dropped quite a bit. And that could be one of those injectors or multiple injectors bleeding down. Now it's time. Let's test all the windows. I basically want to be able to go home with the pile of parts, load this thing up with parts from my yard, so that I know everything that I'm fixing. And, okay, that one works. It was already down. Let's try the rear. What? Okay. Well, I don't think that's a regular problem. It might be an initialization problem. All right, let's go to the other side. That side works good. Not too shabby. All right, that's not too bad. 3 out of 4 working perfectly. It's a passing grade where I'm from. All right, let's try some interior stuff. Let's go with the stuff that always breaks. Okay. Okay, that's amazing. Let's try the passenger one. Wow. This isn't in such bad shape after all. Another really sore spot on these cars is the pano roof. They all break. Every single last one of them. And it appears this one is also broken. But we're going to try it anyway because, well, I'm dumb. Okay. It's doing stuff. Alright, so it goes up. And that is all. That's all it does. Which... Nope. So that's broke. Now let's see if we can open this hatch glass. No. Let's go unlock the car and see if that makes a difference. I'm sure that's not going to fix it. Nope, that doesn't work. Does this work? Nope. If I remember right, if I press this, I hear stuff happening. It's so angry.
All right, we're going to get this hatch open. It opened once. I think I had to keep pressing the button. I can hear the latch Let's give it a little help here. All right, work from here on out, please. It's just, that's a big fat no.
I guess I'll just open it all the way very carefully. You never want to yank these up because they do bad things, really bad things when that happens. Now I'm just going to take everything out of the back of this thing. I think we're going to tackle the suspension next, because I really don't want this thing sitting on the ground at my house. I already have enough really terrible looking cars there. Take it all out, and then we're going to take out all of the additional things that BMW didn't put there, like this. All right, that doesn't need to be in there right now. What's under here? Surprise, nothing. Well, that's the battery hold down. Don't need those. It's not like the car moves. All right, we're going to have to take this stuff out because I don't know where that goes. Maybe it goes here. Oh boy. Yeah, let's just pull this whole thing out. Oh yeah. I forgot all about this junk. There's that extra awesome hold down for God knows, I don't want to know.
Ah, yes.
What have we here? Zip ties? Well, at least there's some zip ties in here. We're just going to have to get all this stuff out. So I handle most aftermarket radio installs the same way. This is the tool you need. I'm not saying that putting aftermarket radio in your car is bad. Oh, okay. So they just screwed that into the styrofoam, that fuse. Okay, I think. Oh, okay, I can just pull on this. There's a big old ground wire. That one's got a fuse holder. Will it come out? Yes. So maybe it comes through this way. Let's get the little blue wire out first. There's one part. Oh yes, it's working. I think we're free here. There's one. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Tangled in the bags of modules. There's two. I'm sure these will just come right out. Won't have to take anything apart. Oh, they're coming from somewhere. Oh, that was it? Well, that was easy. Oh, what's this black wire? Oh, no. Oh, no. Oh, no. Well, I pulled this cover up a little bit, and surprisingly, it's not broken. It's not really clipped in right. And the other end of those RCAs is cut, and it's here. And then there's a black wire that goes along with it. So let's move up and see if I can figure out where that goes. All right, what's going on down here? Oh, I see the blue wire. It goes. Oh man. Maybe I'll cut it and pull it through. Yeah, that's what we're gonna do. That's junk. Oh, here we go. Ripping stuff out. This is like a pastime for me because I never really... All right, where did that end go? I do this with almost every single car. Oh, it goes that way. Where's the other end of this go? Oh, okay, I see. Oh, there's stuff coming out of here. What is this? Who did this? All right. It looks like all of this terminates in this area. So let's see if we can pull this out, or at least get this loose enough to... Oh, is that it? It went to nowhere. Oh, we're going to cut that. I'm not fighting with that anymore. Well, here's all the aftermarket wiring that came out. I think this is all just to be able to connect this. This is a 1/8" phone jack, so it's probably somebody's phone. I get it. But let's get all this out of here. We'll get back to fixing the car. Now let's get it on the rack and... Oh, I'm scared to look underneath this thing. It's going to be fine. It'll be fine. Start it up, disconnect the jump box. Fine. That's what we just need to keep saying. Get a look back here. Bags look okay. A little bit of rust up there. Don't like seeing that. I'll have to stay on top of that, because these cars and rust, they love each other. So here's the suspension pump. This is the nice hole that they made for me. It's a nice access hole. I would call them something that sounds similar for doing this, but you know, I wasn't there for that. So we'll take this the rest of the way down. We'll try to put a pump in it, and hopefully that gets this to do something. I have my doubts, but all we can do is try. Let's go up front. Well, it's got lots of rust prevention up here. Lots and lots and lots and lots and lots. And this thing does feel pretty terrible when you start it, and it's really buzzy. I wonder if we can figure that out. Let's get this undershield out of the way. It's half ripped off anyway. It's just going to get in the way later. Oh, this is in really good shape. All right, well, that's just going to fall probably. That's what I expected. Why does this feel like it's sitting on this? Oh boy. Well, it needs some parts. Well, I think I see why it feels bad. It has a completely collapsed motor mount. I can't see this side that easily. Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's just...
The first thing I noticed was all this grease flung up here, because that axle boot right there, it looks like it's got a quick boot on it and a zip tie. Yeah, that's how you fix that. You know, that's normal. God, I can't believe that didn't work. And then when you start it, it vibrates like hell. It feels like the engine's bolted to the car. That's because that motor mount is collapsed. And if you can see through this window, that one is also collapsed. Well, that solves that mystery. That axle's good. Looks like someone's been in here at least once. It's real leaky. But that's how you know it's got fluid in it. If it stops leaking, that's when you gotta check everything. Let's take a look at some of these leaks here. So that looks like it could be a rear main, but it's leaking so bad over here on this side. I bet this is all valve cover. There might be some oil pan in there too. But I mean, the cat is just sopping with oil. It's gonna leave marks on my driveway, so that is gonna be cool. I'll have to slide a pan underneath it. Another common failure point on these: thrust arm bushings. I don't know if I'll be able to tell in its current position. I don't think these are that bad. I bet you they've been done. Nope, they're bad. That's way too loose. I bet you when you brake torque this thing, this wheel moves back and forth in the wheel well. We'll check the other side just to be sure. I see. Oh yeah, they're torn. They are shredded. And the suspension ride height sensor is broken off. That's cool. We don't need that. That's that right there. It just broke right off. Thankfully, it's just a little fulcrum ball, and I'll probably be using the entire front subframe out of a two-wheel drive car, so we should have everything we need. That's loose. Can I fix it? That's loose. Oh my gosh, everything's not attached. Why did I look here? What's up here? More leaks. Coolant, a little bit of coolant, more oil. That's a shocker. Let's get this shield out of the way. We're going to pull it out the right way because it was so difficult to do that the last time for the last person. I'm not sour.
Let's just zippy-doo-dah these out of here.
Well, here's the Schrader valve that was sticking to the bottom. There's the compressor. It's a little crusty, but it's really easy to replace this. We're just going to buzz all the bolts out of it, unhook the lines, and install the other one, put a fuse in it, and cross our fingers. Well, let's get this thing dug out of here, shall we? Okay, there's the electrical. These are the lines to the bags. Let's get a wrench. I can hear air coming out of it. It's a good sign. Or it's a vacuum. Also a good sign. Either way, it's good. All right, now we have this hose here. Where does that go? Let's see if we can get this. You know what? We're just going to drop this, and then we'll deal with it while it's hanging. That seems like the least safe idea, so that's what we're going to do. Oh, this is a unit right here. It's got some clips. Well, I think this can dangle. I wouldn't really recommend doing this on your own car, but we'll get this. It's fine. Well, here's the two pumps next to each other. They are the same, but we're going to have to do a little bit of prep first. Like pull the cut connectors off from our parts car. It is the same. I don't have to deal with fixing this because that just went into that. So that's probably trash or scrap. Now we have to take this hose off of this. Don't you go nowhere. Oh, I got these little red caps, and I gotta push this intake back on. Now I just need to fight with the intake tube to get it onto the nipple there, and I think we're good. I really don't want to, you know what I can do? I'm going to undo this clamp, and then we're going to put a zip tie on there, because that's what I'm about right there. I don't have the fancy pliers to deal with these here, since we don't really do that. There's the right way, and then there's this way. Sometimes they both work. This isn't under any pressure, so it's merely intake. That's it. I suppose we'll start it up and see if it raises itself up. We do need to put a fuse in it, but that we can do. Will you start? Oh, yeah. Oh, it's unhappy still. It's probably that injector bleeding some fuel down. Yeah, smooth itself out. Okay, let's find a fuse. That one's good. And I'm pretty sure I remember which one it is. Let's go get my test light to be sure. All right, let's do some simple fuse tests. Okay, that fuse is good. There she is, right there. Power on one side, not on the other. Please don't pop. Well, here's a compressor turning on. Where's find that relay? There it is. Well, the compressor works. But the valves probably aren't opening and closing. Let's get the scan tool. Let's see if we can do some stuff here. I just erased the codes, and I hear the compressor kicking on. It's raising. It's kind of raising. It's doing stuff, guys. It's trying to. Oh no, it's moving. Oh, this is just great. You mean one part fixed it? Just one part fixed it. That's a first in the land of BMWs. Look at that. Ah, she's a beaut now. Doesn't look like I got 20 bodies in the trunk. It's happy. Sweet. All right, now we're going to go through all the menus and look at all the codes. It's going to be fine. Transmission code is probably because I haven't driven it and I throw a code. Parking gear incorrectly disengaged. Don't tell me to do that. All right, we're going to just delete that and fix it. Yes, I want to delete it. All right, we're going to get out of there. Transfer case, I know this will have some codes. Probably for fluid. Let's see here. Oil wear, yep. Yep. It's going to need a fluid change, or, well, we're going to delete it. So, let's just fix it real quick. This is how you work on BMWs, by the way. You just delete all the codes, and then everything's fine. That's taking a while. Don't like that. Doesn't want to be fixed. All right, well, we're not going to try to clear the transfer case codes again because I don't want to reset this. But let's see what else is in here. This is ABS traction control. It's 2 present. Front and rear brake pad sensors. Everything else is not present. Linear voltage. Yeah, all that stuff. Whatever. I'll clear this and let those come back. I'm sure it's going to need pad sensors and probably brakes. This thing's been sitting for a while. So let's just fix it real quick. Hey, it's fixed. Let's see. Probably throw 2 codes. Yep. Brake pad wear. No big deal. Let's go to instrument cluster. No telephone. What? No message. Telephone. What? Message error. Tire pressure control. Erase. I could go in and diagnose all this stuff, and I will when I actually go to fix it. But what I'd like to do is collect parts, so that way when I do go to diagnose it, I don't have to drive back up here since this car will be home. That's the idea. So apparently that fixed it. I have my doubts. Comfort access. Actually, this is cast. This is like the BCM essentially. K-line fault. That's scary. So the first two I'm not worried about. I can look it up later, and then we'll erase it, see what comes back right away. K-line fault. Cool. That's one we'll have to diagnose. We're not even going to look at the sunroof. We already know it's broken. No LIN communications rollover controller. Roller cover. Oh, that's sunroof. All right, well, we're going to delete all this stuff. Another K-line. Yeah, there's definitely something going on here. All right, now we're going to go into the rear lid lift, the power lift gate. I skipped past a bunch, just cleared a bunch of codes. It's a bunch of low voltage codes, nothing important. Let's see what's here. This is going to be probably some present stuff. Button, rear lid, inside. Angle of rotation sensor, valve. Okay, so let's just erase it, and then we'll see if this works afterwards. Let's see. Read codes. No fault codes. It's fixed. Not hardly. Well, it should probably just open the door real quick. No? Nothing's working. Let's see if the inside button works. All right, well, let's just close it gently. Doesn't work. It doesn't seem like I did anything, which I really just wanted to narrow down the faults. Well, I think we're doing pretty good here. I went through everything. I deleted all the old codes. I'm not going to touch the transfer case stuff. Plus, we're going to delete that anyway. And the engine controller, the training controller is all happy. Instrument cluster is happy. I can't remember what the car access system was. But there's the... Actually, we'll look into it right now. Screw it. We'll do it live. The K line. Yep, we got some communication line issues. That's no problem for now. So we know the sunroof's got problems. We're not going to touch that. It's got a ride height fault. It's a communication fault. And look at all that. Pass. Light faults. That's the right front, the parking light, which is the halo rings, and both of the license plate lights are in op. Although I did see one flash earlier, and they're LED, and they're not supposed to be. So, yay. This is the rear deck lid, the KBM. The air conditioning fault codes. That's the defogger and the I think it's a rain sensor maybe. It's something on the rearview mirror, but it's really not bad. I know this doesn't seem like great, but this isn't bad for one of these cars. Most of those old codes were old codes related to low voltage or whatever else was wrong with it before I bought it. For the last 30-something years, BMW has really struggled with broken wires where the trunks and hatches open. They flex back and forth and the wire breaks. And what have they done to fix this, to remedy this problem? No, really, what have they done? I'm asking. I'm not going to tell you anything. I will say the wire they use for the hatch, where anything opens, similar to the doors, those are made out of different copper strands than the rest of the car harness. But why do the door harnesses not fail? Why does it always fail here? And if you want to talk about a pain in the butt job, you have to totally dismantle the hatch. The glass opens separate. There's actually a right side and a left side harness. It's about $600 worth of parts, and I think it pays at the dealer like 9 hours. 9 hours. So the harness that runs into this is all part of the body harness. It doesn't plug in anywhere. You have to chop off the bad harness and solder in pins and put a connector in there. It's great. So I'm going to pull this apart and see if that's been done, because if it has, I will be so happy. So happy. Thankfully, this is really easy to check. Ooh, this thing has aftermarket speakers in here. DS18 Pro. I'm just going to pretend that I know that that's good or bad. Oh, they didn't put the screws back in? You gotta put the screws back in, guys. Oh, I see what they did. They used a screw in the wrong spot. It does not appear that it has been done. Oh, it's been worked on. Oh, oh, no. No. Well, I'll have to show you guys what I found. So here is what I'm talking about. And this has had some repairs done. And I'm not going to really make fun of this kind of repair because this is how my car is too. I was just really hoping that someone did this the right way and not the way I did it. They did not. They did it the way I did it, which is okay. If it works, it's going to stay that way, but when it starts having problems, I'll have to put an entire harness in it. Do you remember what I said about hatch harness wires breaking? I can see at least one broken wire and another that's about to break. This car is going to need a hatch harness. I bet you that's some of the functionality of this hatch that doesn't work or does work is related to this broken harness. Unfortunately, this is how the wiring looks for the amp. I have no idea what it's going to take to straighten this out. I mean, I have an idea. I'm not quite sure what they had going on here. Maybe they removed some stuff and this is what's left behind. Either way, I'm going to chop a connector off one of my parts cars with about a foot of wire just in case I need it. I think it's about ready to come home. This may very well be the biggest project I tackled this year. The current plan, which may change, is to finish parting out the 2008 535 manual car that I have at the shop. It's a parts car, wrecked in the front. I'm going to pull the engine and transmission and subframe complete out of that car and reseal everything, clean it all, a bunch of new parts, new seals, gaskets, new clutch, all the things I'd like to do before I reinstall it into this car. And then once that is all done and clean and ready, then I'll pull this into the garage, drop the entire front subframe, everything together, wheel it out of the way, wheel the new stuff underneath it, lower the car back down onto it or raise this up underneath it, and then most of the swap at that point will be complete. There's still a ton of work beyond that, but that's the current plan. And again, this may change. It unfortunately will be some time before I post an update video on this car, but I wanted to go through it front to back and find all the little things that are wrong with it. There's a couple things that aren't no big deal, but there's a couple things that I'm not looking forward to. The sunroof, the hatch wiring, getting the hatch to open and close later. That's a later problem, not a now problem. There's several other projects that I'd like to get done first. I want to get the red Miata done. I want to get the Cobra Mustang done. I want to get the white Corvette done. I want to get the Carrera done, and maybe an update on the 928, which I have been working on. Lots of stuff to film, lots of stuff to edit, but it's still worth it. I appreciate all your comments. As always, I love all the comments, all the feedback, and even the criticism. I love it all, and I'll catch you on the next one.